let's not spin in. Welcome back, ice cream makers. Today we are making Salt and Straw's Cinnamon Snickerdoodle. Now, apparently someone said I said Snickerdoodle last time, too much emphasis on the ooh. So, for all of those people, how about Snickerpoodle? No, we're just going to make Cinnamon Snickerdoodle. It's in Salt and Straw's recipe book. It's online, basically everywhere. So let's just get stuck in and make it, shall we? So to make the Snickerdoodles, according to the recipe book, combine the butter and 1 cup of sugar in a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment. Now we don't have one of those, so we're using our hand whisk thing that, you know, may or may not work. Oh no, it's sugar everywhere again, like normal. Actually, if you watched our last cookie making video, I did the same thing there. I'm not a baker. Anyway, keep whisking it until that mixture comes up light and airy, lighter in shade, and then add your egg, whisk that in, make sure it's well combined. Then add the flour, the cream of tartar, baking soda and salt. Now we actually used baking powder. In the UK, baking powder is baking soda with the acidic element to it. In the US, baking soda doesn't have that acid. That's why you need to add the cream of tartar. It's all very complicated. If you're in the US, follow the recipe in the description. If you're in the UK, use baking powder and no cream of tartar. I'll mention this properly in the description below. Once all your dry ingredients are incorporated, get it together and then put it in the fridge. Now, interestingly enough, we had to add another 30 grams worth of flour to this recipe. Now, whether that's just the translation between cups and grams didn't work or who knows. But anyway, with the mix in the fridge for a couple of hours, we've taken it out, broken it up into small pieces, rolled them into nice little balls, and then dropped them in the cinnamon sugar mix, cover them completely, and then get them in the oven. 375, which I think is 180 or 200. I'll put that in the description below. And cook them for 20 minutes. Sounds like a long time, but it's the right amount of time. 20 minutes. Turn them around halfway through cooking, then take them out, let them cool completely, put them aside until later. So in Salt and Straw's recipe book, they say to combine the xanthan gum, sugar and your skim milk powder in a bowl. So that's what we're going to do here, as you can see. Once that's all combined, put your corn syrup. We've actually used glucose syrup here because we can't get corn syrup in the UK. Put that in the pan, add the milk and then gently warm it up. Add your dry ingredients and stir until all the sugar and skim milk powder is dissolved nicely. Then take that off the heat, put it in a container and add your cream. Give that a nice little stir and then put it in the fridge. You need to get that nice and cold, so a good 2 to 3 hours. Now, according to Salt and Straw's recipe, they recommend taking your ice cream base out the fridge and then add in your cinnamon and your chili powder. Yo, Chili P! Now for me, this didn't combine well at all. It just clumped up and made a right old mess back in the fridge. They say put it back in the fridge for 10-15 minutes and let the spices dissolve. Now they don't dissolve, they kind of just clump together, so I'd probably do this a bit different, but we'll talk about that later. Once it's all combined, with your ice cream maker chilled down for 10 to 15 minutes beforehand, get it in your machine churning. This recipe is actually a little bit low in sugar for me, and it didn't take long at all. It took 8 minutes to churn in the 50-30 here. Whilst your ice cream is churning, take your cookies and cut them up into 1/2 or 1 centimetre squares. You can get some little crumbly bits in there too, and keep that aside. We're going to add those to the ice cream while they're churning. Whilst your ice cream is churning, right at the end, the last couple of minutes, add in your crumbled or cut up Snickerdoodle cookies. Make sure it's well combined. If your machine isn't strong enough like ours, then just fold them into the tub by hand. And look at this tub. I'm sure this is modelled around me, but we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So the ice cream's been in the freezer overnight. It's Sunday morning. And for those eagle eyes, I am not wearing my Cookie Monster lounge pants. I'm wearing Batman ones instead, like, woo, I'm Batman. So let's get some of this ice cream out of the freezer, dish it up, and see what a bloody Snickerdoodle is. Doodle. if you watch a little clip of me scooping, this actually is pretty hard. This froze really quite hard in the freezer. Why? Sugars. The recipe, Salt and Straw use a standard base in their recipe book, and then they add stuff to that depending on what it is. For me, they should have added a little bit more sugar with the cookies, but they didn't. So that's why it's a little bit harder than personally I'd like, but if you take it out of the freezer for 5 minutes, it will be fine. Normally their ice cream recipes are perfect. So, cinnamon snickerdoodle. Look at the tub. This design is because for this recipe they use Red Ape Cinnamon, which if you look online you see that they work tirelessly to help the orangutans, I can't say it, orangutans, and we can't get that over here, so I've just used cinnamon from Tesco. But we think this is a great cause and we wanted to highlight this in this video, just so if you can buy it, do buy it. There we go. We also don't even know what a bloody snickerdoodle is, because we don't get them over here in England. We don't even know it's a thing. Had to look it up, and it turns out it's a very specific type of cookie, which obviously we've made. So, what does a cinnamon snickerdoodle taste like? Quite nice. It's not a deep flavour-filled cookie. It's quite a plain cookie, but the top has got the cinnamon and the added sugar on. It's a nice crunch to it. Overall, it would make a really nice sandwich for ice cream sandwich, which we may have a couple aside that we might do that with. Tub's gone. Stay set to put it back in the freezer, otherwise we're going to waste the whole thing whilst I do voiceover recording and everything else. So here we go. Interestingly enough, as you can see, the ice cream hasn't really melted. Now, that is partly because it's frozen solid, but it's also something to do with the Xanthan Gum that they use as a stabilizer. But again, we'll get onto that. If you're interested in stabilizers, we're going to talk about those in our chocolate ice cream series later down the line, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that fantastic sciencey ice cream action. Anyway, I think we just dive straight in and see what this stuff tastes like. It's cinnamon. It's basically a cinnamon ice cream with a very slight touch of cinnamon cookie add-in. It's very pleasant. It's very nice. If you like cinnamon, of course, I do. I can't taste the chili powder at all. We had to ask Salt and Straw how much to put in, because they actually don't mention it in the recipe book, and they came back saying it's just a pinch. That pinch has literally done nothing. So if you like chili powder or you want a bit of heat, then go to town, put loads in. Personally, I don't like spicy food. I'm a korma man through and through, yeah. So, up to you how much heat you put into this, but cinnamon, great. It's actually, texture-wise, it's like you'd expect from Salt and Straw. It's a perfect texture. It's really, really nice. Although it doesn't look like it's melted, it's actually softened up quite well. It's probably sat here for 6 or 7 minutes, and it's ready to go. So if you love snickerdoodles and you even know what that is and it's not a poodle, then make sure you make this really nice ice cream. It's a really deep luxury cinnamon base, so really nice and tasty. I'm going to sit here and poodle my way, snickerpoodle, whatever, my way through this ice cream. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. So if you want to watch another Salt and Straw video, click this one up here to go to their salted malted chocolate chip cookie dough. Man, that's a big title. Click this one to watch whatever YouTube recommend, and don't forget to do this one for the subscribe.